Machine learning is nothing but taking reams and reams or thousands and hundreds of thousands of records of database format and creating those general compact knowledge representation rules. That's what machine learning is all about, inductive reasoning. Machine learning is nothing but inductive reasoning. The twin components of inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning is core to developing AI systems. Any AI systems cannot survive with a conventional notion of storing every fact, which is what databases did. So you have to move from that paradigm to a knowledge-centering approach where you're storing the knowledge in compact knowledge representations via the facility that I will have the facility for doing reasoning in the background, deductive or abductive, or deductive or inductive. So logic is the way you carried out this. So what did this achieve? We talked about tenets of intelligence. We talked about first, it being a search problem with constraints and optimization. Second, we talked about knowledge representation as a key to represent compact knowledge instead of infinite set of facts. And then we need to have the engine of reasoning, which is either deductive or inductive with machine learning. This is important in any fact. Now comes the question of machine learning, right? We talked about machine learning as a way of talking about creating general rules from lot of particular data, lot of instances of raw data. Now, when you say machine learning is a set of algorithms which are enabling you to derive those general rules from lot of raw data, is it going to work only on one kind of data? No. That's where AI extends itself to saying that I don't need only an Excel format or a CSV format or a typical structured data like a database. I can work with natural language data. Humans have been talking to each other over millions of years. So AI systems, if they were to mimic human intelligence, they should be smart enough to deal with natural language, spoken text. Natural language, which is a very common way of expressing, right? It could be in any language. So natural language capability of reasoning with text, reasoning with natural language is very important element of any AI. It could be existing without machine learning or with machine learning. Today we have systems which don't need machine learning, but they are very good natural language processing systems, right? Same way, we need to look at speech. Speech is a very important element of tenet of human capability. Today, Alexa, Siri, all of these, what are these? Google Now, what are these? These are examples of speech-based systems, AI systems in work, which take the speech rendered by you, process it, and then come back with responses. Same way with computer vision, which talks about anything which is form of image or video. Can you give me one example of AI which works on image CCTV cameras with people analyze automatically, right? People talk if there is an intruder. There is a face, which is simpler than that, face recognition. Right? Today, face recognition is a commoditized AI program which is available in Facebook out of the block. When you tag people, you don't have to do it. It auto-tags. Did you try that? In Facebook, you auto-tag, right? So what is that? That's an example of computer vision. So you see, what we're talking about is a combination of features which are responsible for creating this notion of intelligent machine, or we call it intelligent agent. So what are those? A comprehensive search capability, a constraint specification capability, a optimization capability, knowledge representation capability, knowledge reasoning capability, logic processing capability, then being able to deal with machine learning, which is about generalizing the information contained in a large corpus of raw data, and then combine it with being able to capture information not only structured, but also unstructured means like speech, video, audio, image, all of it. So this is the spectrum of intelligence which we're talking about. And believe me, each of them is a huge textbook in itself. But games are put in there because games is one of the frontier areas in AI where people develop new technologies. A new machine learning algorithm, a new reinforcement learning algorithm, a new constraint programming algorithm, a new knowledge representation algorithm, a new optimization algorithm. So that's why games has been fundamental to AI, because that's where maximal starting innovations have happened. Whether it's a machine learning algorithm, or whether it's a new knowledge representation algorithm, or a new search technique, all of them have started with games. Then they've gone on to other areas. So games is a very important area within AI. So now, let me rewind. We talked about developing the notion of intelligence exhibited by machines. What I've done in this slide is I've given you what that intelligence means. And this is exactly what each of us do, right? We are good at speech. We talk natural language. We can see images. We can understand video. We can search through many alternatives, come up with optimized solution. We can reason in the presence of data and come back with outputs. All of that is what is expected of an AI program. But then, the problem in this world is people are so biased towards one thing. People think AI is only the top one, which is machine learning. It's true because today's computational capability and machine learning successes are far more as compared to the advances in other areas. But then, when they do that, they also think that speech processing, NLP, all of that are also tied to machine learning. But let me tell you, it is possible to have a speech processing engine without machine learning. If you combine them, that's good. But there are also possibilities of NLP without machine learning. But it's good to combine them. So we'll see that in any application, we'll see combinations of all of this. It's not one size fits all. So, as we said, key idea is about machine learning, right? What kind of reasoning is machine learning? Inductive reasoning. Good, very good. What is machine learning? Machine learning is basically a very simple concept. You have tons and tons of raw historical data, which is what I call as experience. Then there is the notion of some task performance. Some task you're doing, like coming back with a query to my question I put in my Jeopardy, or getting the response to my automated steering wheel as to which direction and what speed should I be putting my next step in a driverless car, or what next strategy should I be, what next move should I make in my chess game. This could be different requirements of taking a task. And then there is a notion of task performance. What is the task performance? Time taken to respond, or correct response, or accurate response, correctly diagnosing the disease. These all could be different tasks. So the first notion is you should have historical experience, tons of it. Second is you should have some notion of task performance, right? So what machine learning says is, if you can use the historical knowledge and use that experience to create a program which will help you improve at the task which you are at. So you will be given a task like predict my possibility of cancer. You will look at a lot of cancer, images, X-rays. So you will try to create a program which will automatically understand from millions of X-ray images, and you give it a new X-ray image. Your precision of being able to correctly specify whether it's a cancerous or not, it's a malignant tumor or not, should be very high. That's your expectation, right? So what we say is, the idea is in machine learning, you have this task, you have a notion of a task performance, then you have tons of historical data, and then you have this notion of compact knowledge which you created out of this historical data, and you're using it to perform your task. But as you get more and more data, you should improve with your experience. The more data you collect, the better should be your performance of the knowledge you have extracted from your historical data. So the cycle here is very simple. You first have to ensure that there is a lot of historical data. Agreed? Second, you have to understand that there is a notion of a task performance, predicting whether some email is coming as spam, predicting whether the X-ray of shown is a malignant cancer or not, predicting what will be the potential stock price for tomorrow, right? Or predicting whether I will be able to win this game, predicting whether France will win FIFA. How many of you are batting for Croatia? Good, man. Underdogs. Love it. So think about it. All of it is governed by three things. There is a historical data element. There is a notion of task performance. Third one is using the historical data, you're trying to create a knowledge or something which is going to help you do the task better and improve with experience. So that is what is machine learning all about. So it is basically inductive reasoning. Why? Because you work with historical data, and then once you create your knowledge, which is your model, which is your knowledge representation, right? You actually don't anymore work with historical data. You use that knowledge for your future work. So once you created your model, you want to predict stock, you don't carry out your historical data of stock anymore. You'll use the model to predict. So once you created your equation or the model or whatever is your internal knowledge, you discard the historical data. That's what happens in AI systems. You don't carry around your historical data anymore. because you want to save space. And that is what is all machine learning about. How good is your model, or how good is your knowledge you have extracted from your historical data for your future